Alex Ballister, please.
Thank you, Sir Roger. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. As we've heard from other members in the hall today, the death and destruction meted out in Gaza has been horrendous. 43,000 people have been killed since October the 7th, nearly 3/4 of them women and children, and a child is killed in Gaza every 10 minutes. A full 90% of the population, almost the entire Gaza Strip, have been forced to leave their homes. Most have been displaced many times, with some families being forced to move 7, 8 or 9 times over the course of the last 13 months. Some might justify this as a sad but inevitable result of fighting a terrorist organisation in a densely populated area. But whilst Israel has every right to respond to the awful attacks of Hamas on October the 7th, the disregard for civilian lives and the failure to ensure adequate humanitarian access during their response is completely unacceptable. And I feel I have some authority in this, having twice served with the Royal Marines in Afghanistan, where we were fighting a terrorist organisation, and also around built-up areas with many civilians. It is indisputable to say that the IDF's conduct in Gaza over the last 13 months has been massively disproportionate, and the impact on civilians has breached international humanitarian law. Regularly dropping 2,000-pound bombs in built-up areas, destroying tens of thousands of homes, and the unavoidable loss of civilian casualties in that area is completely unacceptable. Again and again targeting protected facilities such as schools and hospitals, including Al-Aqsa Hospital just last month, where civilians were burnt to death in a safe zone that they were told to relocate to. And now, as a result of fighting, there is only 2 of Gaza's 36 permanent hospitals still in full functioning capacity. Israel has also failed to protect aid workers, with over 300 aid workers killed during the fighting, including 3 former British servicemen that were killed by an Israeli missile attack back in April. And Israel, as we've heard from others, continues to block the access of essential humanitarian aid. Oxfam, Save the Children and Refugees International have all called for Israel to comply with demands for better humanitarian access. But rather than improving access, the Israeli Knesset have called for UNRWA to be banned from working in the Israeli territories. UNRWA have said the practical implications of this ban would make it almost impossible for their aid workers to operate in the country. And this decision alone will be catastrophic for the 1.9 million Palestinians who are currently displaced in the area. But whilst we're appalled by the 43,000 that have killed so far, those of us that have worked in conflict zones know that it is hunger, disease, starvation and exposure that will kill more people than the fighting. So with the collapse of the health system, we're already seeing outbreaks of hepatitis A, polio and chickenpox. So can I ask the Minister to update the House on steps the government is taking to hold Israel to account for the protection of civilians in Gaza and the protection of aid workers and medical staff working amongst the few hospitals that remain intact?